prepared
let's go to
something.
that slide.
Here.
This is it. Beautiful.
This is a great example.
This is the best slide in the whole thing. So, I mean, for marketers, right?
Well, you know, when you create personas built on a universal framework, and this is a universal framework of understanding, when you build personas on that framework, it means that you can use it here and here and here. So it's about the content, the advertisement or the creative, the website design, the customer relationship, the service, the retail salespeople. All of the touch points for a brand can actually live on the same language and the same understanding about the consumer individually and consumers as a particular set of brand loyal people. And so in this particular slide, you can see that the same product, the same toothpaste, and this is a generic product, we're not using anything from client's portfolio, but the same one, and it kind of makes sense that the future person is going to want to see what's the opportunity. Well, you know what, to a guy it's a girl, and to a girl it's a guy. It's pretty obvious. Shine your teeth, that's why we do it. But to a past-thinking person, that's really not the motivation. And it's certainly not what they want to know about in terms of choosing their toothpaste. So the lab coat, the official doctors, you know, X hundred doctors said this and that, etc., is the authority that those past thinkers need to actually engage in that particular message. Okay. Whilst the present thinkers, they're much more about how does this work for my family? How is this going to be practical? How does this fit into my day-to-day life? And so the kind of advertisement and the kind of creative you would target that particular audience with is the kind that actually speaks to their way of organizing their world and seeing the world around them.
Based on their values.
Based on, deeper than the values. It's actually, our thinking style actually creates our values even.
Oh, yeah.
Look, this is the very, very basic wiring of the human mind. It's how we perceive and generate all thought, including values and beliefs and other things.
The map that was laid down in infancy. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then for the future.
Well, in the future, I mean, it's like, you know, hey, there's the opportunity. It doesn't matter whether you're he or she. The opportunity is you're going to get together.
So you're selling the sex appeal of connecting at a really great level with someone because your teeth look so good.
Well, right. And, you know, which doctor said it and why for a future thinker is irrelevant. What really is relevant is that I increase my likelihood of success if I brush my teeth with this particular toothpaste.
So cognitive targeting, this is the new concept that we're really bringing to you at AdTech for the first time. This new organization, Telepathy, is going to be applying the MindTime information to use it for marketing messages that will be cognitively targeted. A brand has many customers that are all along the continuum of archetypes. I doubt there are many brands, correct me if I'm wrong, who have just past people or just, you know, future present people or whatever it might be. How do you go from the conceptual idea that there are different people who need different pieces of information and target customers with the kind of content that they'd like to have from you the most?
Well, you know, actually, we prepared a slide to actually show this. The thing is that, first of all, in the same way that we map this audience here, this is an audience. This is a group of consumers of this particular moment in time, and you and I are sitting here.
The consumers of AdTech. The
consumers of AdTech. So here's this consumers, and we showed you that map earlier. And of course, there was future thinkers and past thinkers and present thinkers and blended and all the rest of it. So as we look at that, as you can think of it as, here's an audience that because I now know who falls where on the map, I can test different things. So you start to develop and layer information in terms of individual data points, like this particular ad resonated really, really well with the future thinkers, or this particular campaign worked well here, or these people seem to buy 1 month after the catalog hit the shelves. So you can start to get this information about your brand and the consumers who are loyal to that brand, and you can start to add intelligence to it within a framework that is going to remain consistent. Because not only is there the intelligence that you can bring to that framework, there is already intelligence in the very framework itself. We know a massive amount about what it means to be a future present thinker. We know an enormous amount about what it means to be a strong past thinker, because every other personality trait lives in this framework. So every theory of personality, every theory of behavior explains this framework. So really, this is a universal framework that explains a universal organizing principle for mankind, and not just English speaking, but cross cultures.
So go back to that part where you were talking about consumer behavior, where you were saying some people buy when it goes on sale, some people buy some people buy things right away. Are those personality traits mapped to past one of the 7
Yes, they are.
archetypes? So you can actually start using the behavioral data to inform the cognitive targeting.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, a lot of people think that we're trying, or that cognitive targeting is somehow pushing out existing behavioral data.
It's an add-on.
It's an add-on. This is the next mile. This is the thing that you didn't know about the data that you already had. So there are techniques that are being developed by telepathy that actually allow us to take existing data sets and map them into the MindTime framework.
Yeah.
So that you actually now accumulate. And what's more, you start to make sense out of the behavioral data that you've already got. Because there's not a lot of sense in it at the moment. And so by filtering it, if you will, or framing it in a different way, it brings it into focus, and you go like, that data point and that one and that one and that one and that one all actually belong here on the map. And now that I know that, I can know a great deal more about why people did those things in their behaviors. So this is creating the next mile that allows people to make sense of what they've already got, and for the most part, to really simplify it. I mean, I know one of the things I hear around the industry, and certainly here this morning and talking with you over the last few weeks, there's a confusion for clients as to, their agency's got all of these data points, and the client's going like, I can't understand that, put it into my language. Well, interestingly, a simple framework with 3 moving pieces is client-friendly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was funny, too. I was in a session this morning on, I think, entertainment, and one of the guys showed this really pretty little visual that turned out to be a representation of string theory. And he was talking about how string theory is so complex that it's like the data points that we have to measure, like multi-dimensional, 20 different things. I think that's what's so appealing to the mind, with targeting, cognitive targeting at a MindTime level, is that you can get that right kind of a message to the person in the way they want to get it.
Yes.
We only have a couple of minutes left, and if there's anyone that would like to ask a question, I encourage you to come up to the mic that's right here in the center aisle and catch my eye, and I'll be happy to call on you. I want to talk about transparency with consumers, because I think it's a really important conversation. Say you want to start experimenting with cognitive targeting. Do you have to go get all your customers to take a survey and give you their map pinpoint? And then how does that all work? How do you relate that you're doing this to them?
Yeah, it's a great question, Susan. And I think we've heard so much about privacy and transparency and people's suspicions and things. Look, marketing's not going to go away, obviously, and nor are cookies going to go away. But what we have to face is the fact that we have a more and more intelligent consumer audience that really wants to, and I believe deserves to know what is known. So we've had a policy since the very beginning that anyone who we license our technology to, we want them to do so in such a way that it becomes transparent for the consumer. So yes, first question answered. We have 18 little questions that we call the GPS for the mind that locate you in the world of thinking. And we've always believed that if you want to know something about somebody, ask them. So by asking someone to complete this and then letting them see what it is that is known about them, they have the gift of self-knowledge. You've given them a very real gift, and their whole family or their friends. And then you can also start to use this to be more intelligent in creating that true relationship. So it's really bringing the individual human being back into the marketing relationship. Now, there are ways then that we can say, look, if you have 10% of your audience actually targeted or profiled, we can use all kinds of statistical routines to then map that out and speculate about the others. So certainly you could then look at an audience and say, this lot of people we're going to send this message out to. But you wouldn't know it about in any given individual. So at the individual level, we want to make sure that if an individual is being targeted with messaging because they're understood, they know what is understood about them, and that transparency can build trust in the relationship and build better communication, as opposed to it being one more thing that is captured that is somehow being used and suddenly an ad's appearing and you go like, oh my God, how did they know I wanted that? This is spooky. So we want to not get in or fall into that particular realm.
So you can, just like you did with ad tech, you have are you at a mic? Oh, I'm so sorry. I only saw this one.
It's okay, I'm listening, so.
I don't want to run too long. So you know what? Instead of asking my question, please ask yours. I just saw you, and I apologize.
Thank you. My name is Frank Della Rosa. I've enjoyed this talk.
Oh,
I just
great.
had a question on where this sits in kind of the spectrum of neuromarketing and neuroeconomics, and is it considered, under that broader title?
Yeah, I like that's a good question.
That is a question.
Neuroeconomics dropping the big thing. That was good.
I can reply for this because we are actually out of time, unfortunately. But these things flash at you and say bye bye. The answer, the short answer to the question is yes. Our neurology and the way that economic markets work and all these things are definitely things that we can predict with MindTime. And so, short answer, yes, and I would love to give you a better answer after the presentation. I'll be actually out front somewhere.
I'm doing Vanna White thing here. This is John's new book.
Yeah.
It's called It's All About Time, How Companies Innovate and Why Some Do It Better. And you can get a personally autographed copy at the bookstore, which is right near where you came in to register. So, and you're going there now, right?
I believe I'm supposed to be going there in 10 minutes.
If you're interested in learning more about it, John's hot off the press book.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you. Round of applause.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I want to add my thanks to John and to Susan. Thank you both so very, very much for this. And we're going to have sessions beginning in 10 minutes, and John is going right up to the bookstore. I'm planning to get a copy purchased and autographed right away, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you for coming.